Behind me are a couple really exciting things. Number one, Little River, North Carolina's Rescue. Number two, a brand new 60-inch Omen. Number three, Dylan with First Do Mobile Solutions. We are doing the first Omen retrofit install, this right here at FireTech in-house today, and we're gonna take along with Dylan and his crew as they get this thing installed. First step in getting this old light bar off is dropping the headliner. Now it's just 4 bolts and they're ripping this old light bar right off. All right, Dylan, light bar is off, so what are you guys been working on next?
So next we're going to be going into filling the holes from the previous light bar, sealing them up using old bolts and silicone to replace that. Then we're going to map out where the new bracketing for the Omen's going to place us. Make sure there's nothing underneath the roof that's going to impede the bolts.
Support structure, that type of stuff down there?
That kind of thing.
Okay.
Map that out, go ahead and mark our holes for it, get them drilled, and we're also going to go ahead and look at where our new wiring is going to go through, if we're going to be able to use existing holes through the roof, or if we're going to be able to put new ones in to make that work.
One of the great things about Omen is this exoskeleton frame where we're able to actually slide the feet along this rail. And so we can adjust it to match up very closely with the old holes on the truck to avoid cross members inside the roof structure and that type of stuff. So what the team here has done, they've actually taken one of the feet off this Omen, they've taken it up to the roof and they're using it as a bit of a template as they're trying to figure out where the holes should go to avoid cross members and to try to line up with what's already up there. All right, so what Dylan and the team have done here is they've gone ahead and taken both feet off the Omen, mounted in the cab loosely, and now what they're gonna do is they're gonna take the Omen up there and drop it onto those feet that are already loosely mounted. Once it's all mounted up, they'll secure it all down. No wrong or right way to do this. You could also just as easily take the whole Omen up there and drop it on and drill those holes of the whole thing up. All right, the team just dropped the new light bar onto its feet. 4 bolts each side, they got that all tightened down, and now they're gonna get working on wiring. All right, Dylan, so you've pulled the wires through here into the cab, so what are we doing now? What's the first thing you're gonna do? What's kind of the next steps for wiring here?
So the next steps in getting this wired up is we have 2 sets of wires that are coming in from either side of the bar light itself. So here we have the sets coming from the passenger side of the bar light, and we have these shorter sets that are coming from the driver's side. So obviously these aren't going to be long enough to reach into our console where the power is for this truck. We're going to have to extend them. So for both sets, we're going to add on some additional 12 gauge wire. We're going to bring the hot and the ground from that down into the fuse box for the truck itself, add those in on the 40 amp fuses. Next things we're going to be bringing in is we're going to bring in our input wires. So we have 2 sets of input wires that we have. We're going to bring them down into the console where the control wires for the truck are itself. And we're going to tap them in for the E-Master and the park lights. Next thing we got to do is we actually have to build our CAN bus system. There's a CAN wire that's going to come from both sides of the bar light, and they're going to have to connect together. They come without an end on them, so we're going to add an end like that there, and then we're going to use a backbone and some Y connectors to connect those sides together.
So I want to take a little bit of time to talk about the CAN network on just the Omen install. So this is a little different, right? If you're doing a full truck installed HVC, we've got body mounted lights as well as the Omen. You're actually going to lay out a CAN network, but in this case, we're just doing an Omen. There is no additional lights on the truck that are run that HVC CAN network. So this is going to be what we're going to put in then to make this whole thing work. So what this does is this ties the left and right end cap of the Omen together so that they can communicate. And to do this, we've taken a CAN wire and put in our Deutsch end connectors here. And then we've also taken a Deutsch Y. And the Deutsch Y will go in line here. And this Deutsch Y is important because it'll put our resistor in line there. And that resistor is just an essential part of building a CAN network. So we're basically building a little tiny CAN network to allow the both end caps to communicate. All right, so Dylan's just finished dropping all the wiring in from the Omen into the cab here and kind of starting to dress that up so we can get the headliner put back in place. And he's gone ahead and extended the power wires as well as the data wire from the Omen, and there's 2 power wires and 2 ground wires, right? 2 of these are for the left end cap, 2 of these are for the right end cap, and now this is long enough to reach down into our box. And so what we're going to do is he's made this harness, and this harness is 2 independent fuse blocks, and he just kind of dressed it up to make it a single harness. And this will actually attach directly to the power stud. We're going to skip doing the power bus here where the old one was hooked up. We're going to go directly to the power stud, and then we'll attach both the powers for each left end cap, right end cap directly to this. And then for the ground, we'll attach to the ground block here that's existing in there, and we'll take both the ground wires and hook those in. So Dylan's dropped down 4 discrete input wires from Omen, and the Omen's got 8 technically, but we're going to just use 2, so he just dropped down the 4 for now. The 2 we're going to use today are going to be E-Master and Park Brake. Really the 2 minimums needed to make Omen do all 4 of its functions, which is daytime responding, daytime on scene, and nighttime on scene. And so in this arrangement, the black wire here is going to be our E-Master, and the green wire is going to be our parked input. Check your manual before you do this, as that may be different in your exact wiring, but that's how it is here today with this. And so over here we've got our VMUX node harness, and we've chopped these off from the last light bar that was in here. So these 4 were our E-Master inputs, and this one was our park input. And what we're going to do is we're going to tie these 4 together. Since we just need 1, we'll just tie these 4 together and just take one of these out, and we'll connect that, like I said, to black for E-Master, and then the park brake will be attached to the green. Omen's been tested, it's fully installed, we're ready to put the headliner back in and kick this thing down the road.